The athletes and footballers file out one after the other for group photo and presidential handshake. The president urges the sports sector to keep up the momentum of success at all times and in all competitions. He says, but for the dwindling economy, he would have spoiled these young lads the more.
What we are offering you today is not payment for compensation for winning laurels for your country. Rather, it is a token of appreciation for your efforts and patriotism while competing for your fatherland.
Each member of the 1985 team will get 2 million naira, while their coaches will smile home with 1.5 million naira each. Members of the Victoria's 2015 side will go home with 1.2 million each, and the coaches will receive 900,000 naira each. The assistant coaches are also rewarded with 600,000 naira each. A member of the Dream Team that won the Under-23 African Nations Cup in Senegal last year gets 600,000 naira each, while the coaches go home with 500,000 naira each. Some of the beneficiaries expressed their feelings about the gesture.
At the end, what we have struggled for, every one of us for over 30 years, has come to pass today, happening as big as a miracle. And this is to show that miracle still happens.
It feels as if we've been vindicated, in a way that we've been crying, this thing, they've not done this, they've not done that. But eventually, he has come out after 30 years to redeem this promise. It is unbelievable. It is not all about money. It's actually acknowledging what you have done.
Well, I think it's a good thing. The most important thing is that the athletes, they were privileged to achieve success in whatever they are doing, representing Nigeria. And it's good that the president, were able to make our time today and host everybody.
For the organizers of the show and other well-meaning Nigerians, this gesture by the president should challenge Nigerian youths to strive for excellence at all times.
Our reward system, which hitherto would have been neglected, had been revived. The president, you could see the emotion he displayed when he was relating with the 1985 team. You could see the personal attachment he had to them. That is to say that the president believed that you must reward appropriately anything that one has done good.
It's not about money, it's not about the amount of money given. It's the fact that you were acknowledged and regarded, and you could see that he came quite on time and he actually did all what he said he was going to do. So we are really, really encouraged. And it will trigger not just football, the Football Federation, other federations to do more for the country.
A minute silence was observed for the souls of those who departed, whose relations were on hand to receive their awards on their behalf. Chukuma Onwekusi, Channels Television News.
It is better late than never. 30 years ago, he gave his word. He said, I am going to honor you. I'm going to reward you. You won the first World Cup for Nigeria. They were just kids, 16. I mean, it was under 16. So none of them, at that particular time, were up to 16 years old. Or, not that we're talking about under 17. So a lot of 15-year-olds left Nigeria, went to China, just one friendly at the national stadium them against Togo, which they actually lost, before they travel out of the country. And then went over there against all expectations. They came back from China, Nduka Barianko, and then they came with the World Cup. It was called the Kodak Under 16 World Cup, then FIFA Kodak Under 16 World Cup. So he was General Muhammadu Buhari then, the head of state of the country. But before you could reward them to meet up his words, of course, circumstances took him out of power, and 30 years on his back as President Muhammadu Buhari. And he said, I have not forgotten what I said before. In the East, they said, Ekueme, when I say it, I do it. And that is what he has just done, rewarding the Golden Eaglets. The first, and that was when they changed, and they were Eaglets. It was when they won that trophy. I would have asked you guys, a lot of you don't know. It was when they won the trophy, their names were changed, not to Golden Eaglets actually. It was changed to World Golden Eaglets. So they found out that the world made it too long. So we have to remove the world, and they became the Golden Eaglets. My guys are in the house. I know. I'm saying this for your benefit, Jimmy, actually. So for you, so these are the sense of history.
Yeah, train Babs. It's okay. Always a pleasure to be here. It's always a great thing to reward any sportsman, any sportswoman who has done excellently well for the country. We might have our reservations, but first and foremost, we need to praise the government for having done this after a long while. I mean, a lot of athletes would have felt a little bit done by if they had not gotten rewarded, but with this, I think it's a good starting point. Then thereafter, we'll still talk about the rewards policy. It's great to be here once again.
The rewards policy. Yemi is here.
Good afternoon, Ken. Good afternoon, viewers. Yes, the Golden Eagles, 30 years, yes, the promise has been made, and after 30 years, it has been fulfilled. They've been knocking on the door of the various administration, but they never got anything. So first and foremost, we must thank President Muhammadu Buhari for fulfilling his promises that he made 30 years ago. I'm going to do this for you. Yes, he has come out, and for me, it's a promise kept. There might be some misgivings with respect to the disparity in what was given to footballers, basketballers, blah, blah. But for the will, the political will to get this out of the way, we must give it to him. We can only build on this. So for me, it's a good one.
Yes. Talking about the building process, we can build on this, Jimmy. Are you talking about a sports reward policy? Do we say yes? Let us spell it out in
black and white
in a book. You understand? That this is reward book for Nigerian sportsmen. Because like we are saying, in 1980, the footballers won the Nations Cup. They were given houses in Festac. They were rewarded. When we won the Nations Cup again, they were rewarded. And then the basketballers won the Nations Cup. I mean, as Titanic, because we're not the basketballing nation. They did that, and apart from the defending champions and also the host team, we're the first to qualify for the Olympics. So, what kind of, you give them 600,000 and you give kids? I'm sorry to say it.
I think
1.2 million.
I think
it does not.
I think that disparity is continuous. It's not. You can see that the representation is inequitable. You can see that basketball and football, yet again, even with all the rewards that we've seen, not being drawn at our par. But you ask yourself, in 2015, when we needed to look at what sports gave us the most joy, it had to be Scrabble first and foremost because of the world champion that we had in Wellington. But the fact that we became African champions for the first time in a long while. After 50 years. Yes. After all Angola had put us through and all that, you would have expected that the basketballers would have known some more joy. You would have rewarded them better. I mean, qualifying for the Olympics.
Can you talk about the policy?
No, the 2009 policy. For a long while, I kept saying, and I still do say, that I feel that the policy is not effective because if you don't have it top down in such a way that it is so written, so clear to everybody, all stakeholders, from the grassroots right to the elite, to everybody that is a stakeholder in all of these processes, if they know that if you are competing for any event, this is what you are going to get. At the end of the day, at the whims and caprices, we spend a lot of the government, of the current government. I mean, we spend a lot of money, but do we try as much as possible to see how we can match up to what the senior clients are doing in our sport?
I want to put this. I'm asking you. Our players are playing in Chan now. You understand? They win a match and they get match bonus. They get $2,000. With our present, whatever our current rates, exchange rates are, they draw a match and they get $1,000. They've won a match and they've drawn one. That means they've been given $3,000. $3,000 should be more than 600. Should be that is for winning two group
Just
matches.
two matches.
A group and a win. That means that is, I mean, it's more than 600,000 naira, isn't it?
You see, whichever way you want to look at it,
Yes.
it's a function of the sport the media has promoted.
Okay.
And government, the way sport is viewed presently, is seen as a tool of propaganda. And they will naturally tilt towards where everybody is going. That's where they get the mileage. You cannot compare the mileage the government will get from football presently as it is structured to what they will get from tennis. That is just the fact. Because naturally, people see us as a
footballing nation. Okay.
And now the government again is going in that way. There must be a structure. There must be the will to actually develop other sport and say, okay, for a tennis player, for every match you get this kind of bonus. For basketballers, you will get this kind of bonus. We need to make it equal at every level.
Are we not talking about a systemic failure here?
Probably